everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Music Podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Special thank you to my subscribers. It is because of you that I get to bring you guests like the one I have today. Boone Froggett from OTIS. Boone is the lead singer and guitarist for OTIS, a four-piece band out of Kentucky that mixes heavy blues and roots music with classic rock and southern rock. They do so much, even more than that, but we're going to talk about that. They have two full-length albums out under their belt. 2014's Tough Times, a tribute to John Brim, and 2017's Eyes of the Sun. They are back with new music, 2024, with their latest single, Last Fool in the Line. Boone is here to tell us all about the band and what else they might have in store for us. Boone, it's great to have you, man.
Oh, glad to be here, man. Thanks for that introduction. That's better than I deserve. That was that was cool.
Not at all, man. Not at all. It's great to have the music you've made out there. Like we were talking before, and there's not a lot of newer bands doing what you do and having that soul of those early blues guys and stuff like that. Just that spirit comes through in your music. It's really cool to hear. Uh, Tell me about your upbringing, and you're from Kentucky. I'm sitting in Chicago, so it's
Oh,
not that
cool.
far away, home of the blues here. So, I get a little bit of that, but you got that southern roots. It's deep south. And it comes through in that music, and it's so beautiful. Tell me about upbringing were you born and raised in Kentucky?
Yeah, man, born and raised right here in South Central Kentucky, and it's cool that you mentioned Chicago because we definitely have that Chicago blues influence. The '50s chess thing that was going on was so
Yeah.
powerful, but geographically, we're kind of trapped between Chicago and the Delta, so we kind of get the blues influence from both sides. We love the Mississippi Fred McDowell and R.L. Burnside and all that great hill country stuff that was going down, but personally, I had a very musical upbringing in my family. My grandfather was a competition level old time bluegrass fiddler. So I run around with him a lot. I got that influence. And then my dad was into like Bakersfield honky tonk stuff, and he was always in bands, and they were playing out every weekend. And they had me on stage from 8 years old. So being on stage is really all I ever known. And for the most part, I didn't listen to a lot of rock and roll or blues till maybe I was 12 or 13 years old. I was going through my dad's tape collection, and I came across the Fabulous Thunderbirds, and most importantly, BB King. Once I heard BB hit that first big note, it was like my life was completely changed. I was put on a new path at that moment. I just thought if I could just make one note sound like BB King, then I would be happy. That would be it. And
Yeah.
I'm still on that journey today. So. BB's the best. He's unbeatable. But we try to take these deep influences and carry the spirit of the music, even though we know that there's never going to be another Muddy Waters or another Allman Brothers band, but we want to take that spirit and create something new with it. So that's
Yeah.
kind of that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, and that's what it sounds like. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's great, because like I say, when I want to listen to roots music and heavy blues and that kind of thing, I go to those people. I go to BB King. I go to
Yeah.
the Allman Brothers. Because there's not people doing it now. So you have to kind of go back, but there is. There's Otis. You're doing it now, and that is great. I love that. To hear that influence in newer music is a special thing, and I love what you're doing. Now, the Kentucky sitting in the middle there, you get the both sides that Delta blues mixed with the Chicago blues, and they are different. And you have this amalgamation of that where there's pieces of both of that, and that is is that hard to that's just natural for you then, right? Do you don't specifically say we're going to do a more Delta blues here and a more harder at Chicago blues here. You just write and all of that comes out and you're the voice of your guitar and your actual voice, doesn't it?
Yeah, man, it's just like it's with this type of music, it's best not to think about it too much. You just, we just get in a room and we start playing, and we all start, kind of moving each other to play different things, and whatever comes out is Otis, and that's we try, like I said, we try not to overanalyze that, and we got those, blues influences, and then of course we kind of mix it in with the first wave of Southern rock stuff that we really love, like the Allman Brothers and Wet Willie and Marshall Tucker, and we wear that influence well as well. And those bands that we're into really taught us about all this great music. Like if you look at Zeppelin's first record, or Canned Heat, or the Allman Brothers, and you go down through the track listings, all those are old reimagined blues songs. So we would go figure out who the writer was, and we'd be like, oh, cool, T-Bone Walker wrote this. Then we go study
Right.
T-Bone Walker. So that's anybody that's our age probably listens to the blues backwards. You're going to hear
Right.
Stevie Ray Vaughan a long time before you're going to hear Blind Willie McTell or Robert Johnson. But the cool thing is having that journey through time to experience that music. And I found that the earlier stuff touches me more than the reimagined stuff that was recorded in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s.
Yeah, totally. And it's great to hear that you're a student of the game, so to speak, because
Yeah.
I'm the same way. When I first heard those Zeppelin records and that kind of thing and those reimagined things, even like the Stones early stuff, uh,
Yeah.
I wanted to know about. I saw that they didn't write it, so I went, wow, who is this? And I did the research and I took myself to music school, and went to the record store and found this, or you go to the sources and you look for these things, and there's a whole world, a whole journey to discover new music and the roots, and you guys have done that, and it comes from that place. It really comes from the roots of soul and blues, and it's something special that you guys do. You mentioned being in the same room and getting this stuff together and writing. How does the songwriting process for you guys work? Are you all in the same room, or does one guy, do you bring in something and have everybody work on it, or do you troubleshoot all of that and put everything together, together as a group?
Man, for us, we write as a band, so it works the best for us to all four get in the room with just a blank slate and just start jamming and see what comes out. A lot of times I try to bring ideas in, and I have an idea of how this is going to sound with the band playing it. But if our drummer Dale plays a different groove than what I had in my head, and it always ends up being better than the initial idea I had. So at this point, I'm just like, man, let's just get in the room and work it out, because there's no sense in me trying to work myself to death to get arrangement down in my head when it's gonna turn into something greater. When we all get in the same room, and we're a true band in that aspect. There's not a lot of true bands out there. There's usually one guy that's kind of the brains of the operation. He brings it in and he's like, all right, you play that, you play that. But we don't operate that way, because man, everybody feeds off each other and plays at a higher level when we're together. And we have an energy about us, man. When we're all four in the same room, there's something there that's kind of magical that doesn't happen when we're not all together.
Man, that's cool. That is cool. Now, there's a gap from 2017, as of to now. We had COVID and we had, a whole bunch of stuff. You had the lineup changes. Uh,
Yeah.
you mentioned being, working as a band and, bringing stuff in and having it get better. That is, not everybody has that. Has that changed with your lineup changes? Was it always like that? Did you always work together? or has that changed since the lineup changes?
No, we've always wrote that way. That's always just worked the best for me because, you start jamming on something and you can kind of see the beginnings of it, but you don't want to rush it. You don't want to push it into being something. You kind of want to let it be something on its own. But man, the kind of the pandemic era was really tough on us as a band. Of course, there was no touring. We stopped touring. We got to play like 7 shows in 2020. And
Yeah.
our original drummer decided he wanted to stay home and raise kids and do the family thing. And our original guitar player decided he wanted to play bass for an active rock band. So that just left myself and co-founding member John Seeley on bass. And we were still getting together each week and writing just for our sanity because it was something that was one thing that we could do.
Yeah.
And in the middle of all that, I had got diagnosed with thyroid cancer. So I
Yeah.
had to have my thyroid removed, take radiation, do that whole thing. So that took me about a year to get the green light health wise. And then once that was in place, then we started looking to bring new guys in. So now we got Dale Myers on drums and Alex Wells on guitar. And I think looking back, I think we're a much better band for it. I mean, the reception to the new lineup of the band and the 2 singles has been great. We just Joe Bonamassa just added us to Cutting Edge Blues and Cutting Edge Rock, 2 playlists he has on Spotify. We got mentioned in Classic Rock Magazine's Tracks of the Week when Last Little Line came out. So it's kind of like we're hitting all the places we need to hit, and things are going good. And sometimes you just have to let the universe put you where you belong.
Yeah. That's so great. It's great to hear. You look great. You sound
Thanks,
great.
man.
You're doing well after the thyroid cancer.
Yeah, all good, man. Do my yearly checkups and all that stuff. But other than that, I'm good, and I can sing things now that I couldn't dream of singing before because I had a 3 centimeter mass in my throat, so it was hard to push it out. But now, I don't have that speed bump, so I'm able to do more things. So it's been a good journey, and it's great to get out there and make new music and see people who's been hungry to hear us, for all this time.
Yeah. I did the research and I found that you had the thyroid cancer and I like looked into thyroid cancer because I knew it was close to the throat.
Yeah, yeah.
s- and it does, I've learned that it does have an effect on the voice and it can be an adverse effect. Uh, you mentioned that it has opened up your voice. It has given you more possibility, which is really a blessing, because, it can work the opposite way. Do you feel like you sing differently in a different technique and things like that?
I do because I feel like more things are possible. So it's kind of like I'm learning to navigate these new parts of my voice because sometimes we'll be in rehearsal and I'll hit something and everybody in the room just turns around. It's like, we've never heard that before. Where did that come from? So that's kind of a cool thing. So I'm learning how to control that and how to best use it, tastefully within the bounds of our music. And that's been a cool thing because the voice is a great instrument, and whatever I sing, ultimately affects my guitar playing too, because the guitar is just at the end of the day, we're just emulating the human voice when we do a solo or when we play a slide lick. So the more kind of tools I have vocally, the more places that we can take it guitar wise as well. So it's been fun to play with that. And of course, after the surgeries and everything, everybody was kind of nervous. It's like, all right, is he going to be able to do it or what? So,
Right.
but it's been great. The surgeon told me, like, she said that she had operated on a guy and he sung the national anthem at a ball game a week later. And I was like, man,
Wow.
that's amazing that
Wow.
the human body can recover, which I took plenty
Really?
of time. I didn't jump right back into singing. The first time I sang after was kind of accidentally. I was listening to one of Kim Wilson's records, and he was doing Trying to think of the song he was doing. It's a Sonny Boy Williamson song that I'd already knew. So without even thinking about it, I just jumped in there and sang a line, and I was like, all right, we're going to be okay. We can do it. So, but yeah, yeah, the voice is good. My health is good, and we're sounding bigger and more ferocious than ever, man.
That's so great, man. It's really great to hear. Now you've had Grammy-winning producer Paul Nelson, with
Yeah,
Johnny Winter. Great. You've got another Grammy winner in Kevin McKendry. Uh, Brian Setzer, George Thorogood. He produced, engineered, mixed this new single. Uh, it's mastered by King's X guitarist Ty Tabor. Uh,
yeah.
this is some heavy, heavy star power here. Uh, it's how do you start working with these guys? What's your connection to? Did you go find these guys, or did you know them through mutual friends? How's that? How did that work for you?
I got to know Kevin McKendry through one, the Kentucky Headhunters, and two, Tinsley Ellis, who's a really great blues player from down around Atlanta, Georgia. And he had been recording with Kevin, and he had messaged me on Instagram, was like, "Man, do you guys know Kevin?" I was like, "Well, I know Kevin from when he sat in and played some keys live with the Headhunters when they released this album called Meet Me in Bluesland." And they originally had Johnny Johnson playing the piano parts that, Johnny played with Chuck Berry, but Johnny had passed and they decided to put this album out. So Kevin stepped in and played Johnny's parts on a couple of live shows. So I got to know Kevin through that, and we just kind of started talking. He was like, "Yeah, man, I love to record you guys." So we set a date and went down, and it was a really a magical studio experience for us, man. It was like it felt like we could do anything in there because we all had the same mindset, Kevin included. We were talking when we were like, Kevin, what kind of new music do you listen to? And he's like, man, I don't really listen to new music. I listen to Howlin' Wolf. And we're
Yeah,
and we're like, all right, we're home here with this
yeah.
guy. And we were like, oh man, we don't want to close mic the drums. We want, two or three mics on the drums. And he's like, I got you, man. So we got those. He was able to get us those big room sounds we were chasing after, and it was just a pleasure to work with him, and looking forward to doing more. And Greg Martin from the Headhunters and myself were talking. I was like, Greg, we need to find somebody to master these singles. And he's like, well, how about Ty Tabor from King's X? And I was like, well,
Okay.
yeah, right. I was like, that's a busy cat right there. I don't know if he'll have time to fool with us hillbillies. But Greg's like, no, I'll connect you guys, and we'll see what's going on. And he ended up mastering both singles and was great to work with. And man, what a great connection to have. Obviously, we love King's X, so
Yeah, yeah.
very cool.
I was gonna ask you if you were fans of the band before he got involved, but
Oh
yeah,
yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. What a genius band. Just amazing musicians in that band. To have these guys, in your corner and wanting to record with you, is a testament to what you do as a band. These are pros. You don't get too much better than these guys. They're they know the business sense of it. They get in there, they do their thing, and they do it right, and they do it perfectly every time. Uh, to work with you is really, that's a testament to what you guys do as a band. It's great stuff, and it's a pleasure for them, I'm sure, to work with musicians like yourself. Really great. Now I heard you recorded Last Fool in the Line live in the studio, uh everybody in the same room. That doesn't happen too much anymore. It's a file share world. um will you try to do that in the future, and what are the big advantages of that?
I think for us, it's kind of a secret weapon because we all kind of instinctively play off each other. But it's hard to do that when you're doing it like most folks do it. They'll do it one track at a time. a lot of guys will still be in the room, but they'll do drums first, and then they'll get the bass, and then they'll do guitars, and then they'll do vocals. But for us, we were capturing that magic of us. It's like being on stage. We're playing off of each other. There's dynamic shifts. We're looking at each other. It's a human experience that we're capturing on tape rather than trying to get this perfect version of a song down. And I mean, we don't really care about perfect. I mean, when you listen to John Lee Hooker, or you listen to Rolling Stones, you're hearing the things that are magic about it are the imperfections. Not saying it wasn't played perfectly, but
Right.
just like the things that happen between people when they're playing music is that's what we're trying to capture.
Yeah.
More than, like I said, more than the perfect take. There is some overdubs on the song. I doubled my slide solo and fix some vocal things, but that's really the only thing. But going forward, we want to do, every song like that. Well, if it's the right move to make, because we've been in situations where we tried to do the one piece at a time thing, and we're just like, man, this is sterile, man. This don't, really doesn't even sound like us. What can we do to make it sound more like we sound when we're rehearsing or playing live? And the answer was, to find somewhere that had the capabilities to let us all play live at once. So that's what we did, and it feels good. It feels real. It feels like Otis.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's real. That's a great word for it. It's authentic, it's raw, it's powerful. And I mean, that's the advantage of having, looking somebody in the eyes when you're playing. That human connection, it connects with the listener, I think, too. Uh
Yeah.
yeah, totally, totally. And I've heard, you mentioned the Stones and stuff like that, and I do a lot of research and watch documentaries and things like that about recording these records. And there's stuff that bleeds into other mics, and when you listen, they mention it in there, and you go listen to it, and it's interesting. It's those are the imperfections that really make it what it is. You don't know you're hearing it almost, but it's
Yeah.
there, and that's the magic of it. It's not the same when you take that, that when one guitar was bleeding into the vocal mic. If you take that away, it's not the same song anymore. It's a different recording. That's the
Oh
magic.
yeah, they're essentially using the room as another instrument.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing about what we were able to do with Kevin is like we the setup time does take a lot longer, but once you start tracking, you're basically hearing a record when you start tracking because you've took the time to get all the mics placed where they need to be, and it's a much better tracking experience than just, hey, let's just get it for now and then we'll change it later. I really don't like that attitude because you're starting off with the mindset of I'm going to have to fix this later, and I hate that.
Right.
I
Right.
want I,
You
I,
know,
I want
fix
to
it
start.
now.
Yeah, yeah. I want to start out on a good foot, because if
Right.
it if it if it sounds good while you're tracking it, then it moves you to play, at a higher level.
Yeah. Well, and then, there's always that question of, can we do this live? When you start overdubbing and you got, you're doubling vocal tracks and there's one on top of the other, and you got guitars that you're not going to bring with you on stage that are on the
Yeah.
recording, then you run into these adaptation problems when you get to the stage. You guys did it stage. It's you did it live. You recorded it live. Obviously, you can do it live. You can reproduce it on the live stage. That's a beautiful thing, for sure.
Yeah, man. We take our live experience pretty seriously. Now we hear pretty consistently like you guys are so much better live than you are on the record, and that's what we strive to do because we want people to come out to see us. At the end of the day, this is a tickets and t-shirts business. We're going to be playing the live a lot more than we're going to be in the studio. So that's kind of the most important thing to us.
Yeah. Speaking of the studio, you've got the singles. You got a couple singles out. Is there a date, a time frame for releasing a full-length record? Because you guys are old school. I know, you have that authenticity, that rootsy thing. You like the journey, a full-length
Yeah.
record, I would imagine, is something that you want to do.
Oh, absolutely. That's the way we listen to music, and that's the way we've been inspired. There's nothing like, opening up those classic albums like Physical Graffiti or whatever it might be, and looking at the track listings and the artwork. So that's something we're looking forward to. We're kind of, these singles have kind of been like a, hey, we're back out in the industry, we're releasing new music. We're gonna, take that data that we get, from streaming, and then, you take it to a label or whoever, and you're like, hey, this is what we're capable of doing. Spend some money on us and let's do this thing, kind of thing. So that's what we're working toward. There's definitely going to be more singles released, and in the meantime, we're going to be, doing the business stuff in the background to make a full length album possible, because that's definitely the direction we want to be in. It's been interesting releasing the singles. A lot of people are playing the singles game because what you get back from streaming is really not enough to justify doing an album in a lot of settings, because it's just different these days. But that's still what we're going to try to go out and do is do a full length.
Yeah, I'm an old school guy. I put the record on. I love that journey. I love to start
Yeah,
somewhere and go the peaks and valleys, and song, sequence is major, and all of those things. But living in the world we live in, it is a singles world, and I'm thinking there is a lot of attention that each song gets when you do that, which is really a beautiful thing. Although, I love dusting off a rare gem on the B side of a record that, I'm the only one that knows about it. You know what I mean? That's kind of a fun thing. So yeah, it's great to see the singles out there, but it's great to hear that, I'm gonna have that journey as well. Define success for Otis. Everybody has a different take on that. Being able to support yourself with your music is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Um,
yeah,
some people want Wembley and Madison Square Garden, night after night. Um, some people are happy playing on the weekends with their buddies at the bar. You know,
yeah.
what is it for you? What's success with Otis for you?
For us, man, it's about, are we moving forward as a band? Are we playing to our top ability? And are we moving the audience? If we're not able to move people emotionally with our music, then something isn't right somewhere. And that's the point that we need to, have a talk with each other and say, what's going on. But that's the main goal for us. I mean, obviously we would love to, support somebody at, Wembley, or, a Madison Square Garden, or a big stadium or something. But at the same time, I think you lose so much in terms of musical connection when you play those places. Like we love to play listening rooms and theaters. That way we're on the same kind of spiritual level with the audience, and we're able to interact in that way. And after the show, we'll go to the merch table and visit with everybody and talk with everybody, because it just means the world to us that people come buy a ticket to see us play. There's a million other things they could be doing besides spending their Friday or Saturday night with a rock and roll band. So it
Yeah.
makes us feel like the luckiest guys in the world. So man, as long as like I said, as long as we're moving those people, and we're moving the band forward, and playing better and better, that's we'll keep it going until we can't do it anymore.
That's great. That's great. You got big things ahead, no doubt, because this is amazing music.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
all the links will be in the bottom. We got more tour dates. I noticed theotisband.com. You can find out
Yeah.
all things Otis. A lot of tour dates there. Are you still booking dates?
Oh yeah, yeah. We're
Nice.
adding dates pretty much every week, and man, we've got really lucky this year to play some cool places. We got to play the Iridium in New York City.
Yeah.
which
Les
was a big one.
Paul. It's the
Yeah, Les
home of
Paul,
Les
man.
Paul. Yeah.
You go down, you see all the photos of people who's played there. Mick Taylor, Charlie Watts. The list just goes on from there. So to be there was really cool for us. It was us and Wayne Baker Brooks. So that was a fun lineup, man. We got to throw some blues down with one of the legends. So it was great. And we got to tour some with Jackal this year. They're a really
Oh,
fun
yeah.
band to
Yeah.
yeah, to run around with the cool guys, and getting ready to do some stuff with the Headhunters, and
Saw
then
that.
we're playing the Georgia Allman Brothers Band Association Festival down in Macon, Georgia, which is always near and dear to our heart because we love the Allman Brothers and Capricorn and all the gifts that music gave us. So for us to be part of the Allman Brothers Band legacy and go down there and play is really an honor.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Devin was on not that long ago, and
Yeah.
what a great guy, and just a great player too. And you probably jam with him and hang out, and that'll be a fun time.
Yeah, we did 4 shows with Almond Betts over in Germany, and man, we just had the best time with those guys, man. They're a great band.
Yep, yep, and great people, which is really nice, man.
That helps.
Yes, it does. Well, yeah, especially when you're overseas doing dates with somebody, it helps to have somebody who is easy to work with.
For sure.
Yeah, it's way cool. Boone, it's been great, man. I look forward to seeing you on the road, hearing new music. You got it all happening, man. It's great news. You're back with a vengeance, no doubt.
Well, thanks for having me, man. Anytime you want to come to a show, just reach out and we'll put you on the list, man.
All right. I so appreciate you, man. Thank you, Boone.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye bye.